One of the coolest things about video gaming is that it allows you to have experiences you never would in real life. Gaming allows an escapism that isn't even possible with books or movies, because in those mediums, you're on the outside looking in, a part of the audience. Video games allow you to control the action. Gaming allows you to be the hero. Whether you're a space marine saving the human race from extinction or a quarterback leading your team to victory, you have the opportunity to do things that may not be possible for you in real life. Virtual reality takes this concept to a whole new level. You're not just controlling the action, you are inside the action. You're experiencing it as if you were there. This is what makes eagle flight so amazing. You get to feel the sensation of what it must be like for an eagle flying around Paris. For this review, we're going to focus on story, gameplay, immersion, and then I'll have a few final thoughts at the end. Eagle Flight is not going to win any awards for best storytelling, but for what this game is, the story actually is quite fitting. This game is set in Paris, but this is a Paris that has been without humans for some time, and nature has reclaimed the city. Vegetation has begun overtaking streets and buildings. Animals of all kinds roam the city in different districts. Many times I felt like I was flying through a zoo. As the game begins, you are hatching out of an egg, opening your eyes to take in the world around you, and during this scene you get a true sense of why VR is so awesome. Since you're so small, your parents look giant from your perspective, and it's an awesome way to open the game. The story follows you as you leave the nest and strike out on your own, building your own nest, learning the basics of flight, learning how to fish, even learning to impress a lady eagle with your skills and having some eggs of your own, only to have them taken and then setting out to rescue them. Honestly, the story mode here is much more than I expected, so I was pleasantly surprised by it. When it comes to flight, there are two very different but equally impressive experiences. Casually soaring over the city, taking in the scenery is very relaxing, and while the graphics are more stylized than photorealistic, you still enjoy some amazing views of the landmarks and the rest of the city of Paris. And while you will enjoy free flying around the sky, the real challenge and exhilaration comes when you dive down into particular districts and find yourself zipping through the underground tunnels and openings in buildings, flying over, around, and even under animals, dive bombing the rivers to catch fish, zigzagging through the trees and flying through rings. This may be the most fun I've ever had flying through rings. Flying through some of the tunnels reminded me of a Death Star trench run, only infinitely more intuitive. There's literally no disconnect between your thought process and the movements you make. It feels so natural controlling your flight with your head movements. You still need the DualShock 4 in your hands though. You use the triggers to speed up and slow down. Square launches a screech wave attack, and circle activates a shield around you. Both of these abilities take a second to recharge before you can use them again. And you'll need every ability at your disposal to do aerial battle with vultures, bats, crows, and falcons, all of which have various attacks and defenses themselves. Learning how to best take them out makes for a pretty interesting gameplay arc. One of the things that really matters in video games and VR especially is immersion. And while inside the world of eagle flight, you truly feel like you're flying. Dogfighting with enemies is intense and you're completely immersed in every situation. There's only one thing that I can say takes away from the immersion, and it's a technique that Ubisoft uses to cut down on motion sickness. Whenever you turn sharply or fly close to buildings or objects, you'll notice the edges of the screen darkening in kind of an iris effect. There are times when you'll wish it wasn't there. It makes some maneuvers and some turns much less intense. I would have loved to have the ability to turn it off just to get the full effect. Just remember, the purpose of it is to keep you from getting sick, and I can't fault Ubisoft for making sure everyone can comfortably enjoy their game. I've heard a few people liken Eagle Flight to Angry Birds because of the 3-star scoring system for each stage. And while that will make you want to go back and retry stages to try and get all the stars, the similarities end there. I haven't even played any multiplayer yet, but how could it not be fun to play Capture the Flag or Dogfight with your friends online? The setting is interesting, the controls are instantly intuitive, and the immersion is everything you would expect from virtual reality. Ubisoft has made flying through rings so much fun here. I'd actually like to see them develop a Superman 64 VR remaster just to see if they could do any good with it. Eagle Flight is a fun time and a perfect way to showcase VR when you have friends over. I'd highly recommend it. Thank you so much for listening to my review of Eagle Flight, and I hope you get to take to the skies soon.